For problem 4, we're told that Kelvin decides he wants to start saving money to buy the new iPhone 11, and we're provided with a table that compares his weeks of saving, the X variable, with how much money he's saved. Part A asks us what is the unit rate of change for the table, and it also asks us to explain what this unit rate tells us about Kelvin's phone savings. We're going to take a look at this whiteboard, which copied most of the table and some of the data here. We see to begin with, of course, when Kelvin begins saving, in this case, he hasn't saved any money yet. So he's starting out without any money saved, but then each week he's going to save more and more money. We see that 2 weeks in, he saved $30. So if we set up a Y over X rate of change, we know that he's spending $30 saving $30, and it takes him 2 weeks to get there. We could simplify that. 30 divided by 2, any ratio or fraction is really a division problem, and in this case 30 divided by 2 works out to the same ratio as 15 per every 1 week. And we'd see if we took a look at some of the other data points, $75 in 5 weeks. If you did 75 divided by 5, that would also work out to 15 over 1. And when you do $300 20 weeks in, at 20 weeks, he's still holding steady at that ratio of 15 per every 1 week. So it is a proportional relationship. The ratio remains constant between Y and X. Every single time we bring in another 1 week, we're adding another $15, and that's our rate of change. So at $15 per week in savings is our unit rate of change. If you were specific with this detail, you wouldn't even need to provide much of an explanation. You'd be good to go. You could just say $15 per week in savings already explains what the unit rate tells me about Kelvin's savings, so I don't even need my explanation. Part B, if we take a look there, asks us to write an equation that could be used to determine Kelvin's iPhone savings in dollars. We're going to use Y to represent that, and that's going to be based on the number of weeks, again, the data we already have. The key for the equation, something you might remember from Mr. Neville, sometimes we referred to it as Y equals K times X. We're going to call it Y equals MX this year, where M is really your slope or your unit rate of change in the form Y over X. So in this case, we already know our unit rate of change is $15 per week. Every single week he gets 15. So if you did 2 times 15, you'd get to 30. If you did 5 times 15, you'd get to 75. So we know here the equation could just be Y equals 15x, because however many weeks pass, he gets 15 every week. Multiply those together, and that equals Y, his total savings. Now part C, the last part, and we'll go back to the whiteboard for it. It says, assume the new iPhone 11 will cost $705. Use your equation up here from part B to determine how long it will take Kelvin to buy the iPhone 11. So if we come back to this whiteboard, we're going to write that equation down. We know that Y has to be equal to 15x. So in this case, our question asks us, if the iPhone, the cost, the total money Kelvin will have to save is equal to $705, I'm going to substitute that $705 in for the Y variable. At this point, hopefully some of you might have already realized this could be a division problem. You could just divide both sides of the equation by 15. And that would tell us that X has to equal whatever 705 divided by 15 works out to be. That works out to be 47. And 47 weeks of saving $15 per week, 15 times that 47 would get Kelvin the $705 he needs. So again, 47 weeks is what we were looking for that last part. Alternatively, this might look a little more familiar to you. Some of you might have set up a proportional relationship. So part C might make a little more sense if we instead set it up as $15 per 1 week. And you want to know $705 how many weeks it takes to get there. There we would have cross-multiplied, and you'd get 15x equals 705. And now you see we're back to that same place that we were at when we started with the equation. So this is kind of thinking 7th grade with a proportional relationship. And then 8th grade, we can start using the equation right away, which we knew had to say 15x equals y. And we could have just subbed in that 705 right away without needing to set up this cross multiplication. Either way works. You both end up with the same equation. And in both situations, we end up dividing both sides by 15 to figure out that x is equal to 47 weeks.